Julie, thank you so much for coming on. I know you're a little nervous. I think you just relax.
I am. I just got to get the jitters out. I think it just, once we start talking, I think I'm going to feel back to normal.
Yeah, for sure. I remember Natalie was on here. You know Natalie.
Oh, yeah. She did so good.
She did do good. She was so scared.
Yeah. So, I think it's with everything, with presentations, anything. You get scared. Got to get it out. I need the first minute. Just shake everything off. And
exactly.
Then,
So you are a civil engineer. I don't know how to define civil engineer. I know civil has something to do with civilians, I'm guessing. Engineer is just engineering. Engineering is such a broad what is a civil engineer?
Yeah, when you choose engineering, it's pretty much designing things for the day-to-day person to make things easier. So it could be infrastructure, it can be so many different things. And when you really look at like a college catalog, you'll see that there's different concentrations. Like you can go into water resources, you can go into transportation, you could go into structure. So it's so many different things. But what's really cool about engineering is you get to design things to make everybody's day easier. So when you wake up in the morning, you start thinking about what are the first things that you do. Okay. You probably get up, turn on the faucet, take a shower, brush your teeth. So those things that you're able to do is because of engineers. Okay. We are able to design that for you. We are able to make your life a lot easier.
So when you're late to work and the red light, it does not turn green, it's because of the engineer.
It's me. I did it. Blame me. I know. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Or even like the roads. So like we do everything. Yeah.
Designing all the roads, the exits, the on-ramps.
Yep. We take you guys in consideration, believe it or not. So we think about you guys all the time, trying to make your life easier.
So that's kind of like a broad, right? Engineering. You're a civil engineer and you're on actually a really cool project right now. Let's talk a little bit about like you as a civil engineer. You got your degree, now you got a job. What do you do as a civil engineer?
Just like my day-to-day kind of thing?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to interrupt you. So somebody's imagining, I don't know what they're imagining when they get their civil engineer job. I don't know what you imagined when you got your degree. Is it what you're doing now? Is it what you imagined or is it different?
It is different.
Okay.
It is different because you go through school and you learn all this technical stuff. So you're like, okay, I think I'm going to be designing all day. So I'm going to be drawing. So that's going to be my 8 hours in that day. I'm just going to be drawing, thinking of things, designing things, right? But that's such a small portion of my job because communication is such a big thing. So I would say design and engineering portion of my job, maybe 20-25%.
Wow, okay.
But communication, so just talking to your clients, talking to the city. So it's just communicating all the time and teamwork and working together and trying to figure out solutions. So you're just constantly like brainstorming, meetings, talking to clients.
So sometimes like super smart people don't have the greatest social skills.
That's a problem. That's a really big problem. So if you have a problem like that, then you got to fix it. Yeah. I don't know how, but you got to fix it.
You got to work on it. Okay.
Yeah, you got to work on it because if I'm designing something and I'm working with a client or a city, they may not understand what I'm trying to do. So you got to be able to communicate that in the simplest way possible. That way it gets it across what you're trying to do. So communication is definitely so important. And writing emails, writing reports, writing summaries, so important.
Man, so you said writing. Yeah. Sometimes, when I was back in grade school, high school, it's like, dude, when are we going to learn or when are we going to use all this stuff? A persuasive essay. But in a professional scenario, you're usually trying to persuade somebody else on the other side to think like you're thinking.
Exactly. Without getting into detail, am I able to relay this information? What am I trying to do? Right? Because we're trying to design something. There's a goal. So to get from point A to B, you want to be able to explain it. Okay. So yeah, you got to write it down. You got to talk. You got to do all that stuff that you're trying to avoid, but you can't get away with it. Or, so you got to do it. You just,
Okay. So civil engineering, a lot of communication. 20%.
20-25% actual design, like technical
design
skills.
drafting. Okay.
Yeah.
So what else do you do? Let's talk about what are the two biggest differences between how you imagined your job and what it actually is.
That's a good question. I think when you're in school, you're so focused about yourself.
Passing the test.
I want to get the best grade. I want to, it's all about you. I mean, I'm just going to admit it. You're trying to get that A because you're your best advocate. Yeah. But when you get to a job and you finish school, you learn it's not about you. It's about the company. It's about people that you work with. So it's no longer you're getting a grade. It's just a different mindset. You start thinking about, how do I make the company better? Or how do I work better with my coworkers?
Because your progress or result is very dependent on the team you're working with, right?
Exactly. So if you are in college and you're working on a team project, start learning those skills on how do I work with difficult people? There was actually there was a sermon or somewhere in the Bible where it said if you want to be a better person, surround yourself with difficult people. Okay. So don't be like, I don't like my team. He just doesn't understand me, and just walk away. No, just
everyone's so difficult to work with. I can't do this.
I can't do it. Right. No, you are going to stick through it and be a better person. So if anything, I just didn't know how much time and effort I would have to put in. And I'm learning too. And I'm becoming better too, to be more patient and stuff. So
building relationships with
other people that may not be like you, you know, and also in the Slavic community, we're so used to certain traditions, certain this, but when you don't really get to choose who you work with. So
right.
It's just,
you want a job, so you
I hope you guys understand that. You don't get to choose that.
Exactly. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
So your day-to-day, what does your day-to-day schedule look like? You come in, what time do you start? You finish kind of your, do you have a morning routine you like to do?
If it's a really good day, I come in at 7:30. That's my goal every day, but really I come in at 8. And that's okay. That's not me being late. My manager tells me, hey, if you can come in by 9, we're good. And put in your 8 hours, which I love because
the goal is the 8 hours.
The goal is the 8 hours. And that's the thing about my job is I don't have to clock in a certain time and then clock out. It's more of put your 8 hours in. So
that's nice. It's a little flexible kind of around your lifestyle.
Yeah. So if I know I have some kind of plans in the evening, I'll make sure to come in at 6:30 or 7. So I can manage my time better, which I really, really love. I think that's such a pro in choosing a job and how flexible they are with your time. So I'll come in. So if it's let's talk about a really good day. So let's say I come in at 7:30. So I just start work. So if I have a project, it's something that I will be working on for months on end. So I have little tasks that I have to do every day, like call somebody back or they got a question or whatever. So I'll take care of those emails, those little things first thing in the morning. And then I'll just dive right into that project. Okay. And then I'll just do whatever I can for that day. And then, So
by diving into the project, obviously you're doing different things every day, depending what stage the project is on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's, it's never that you're going to be working on a project alone. Like we have certain people in our office that are specific on, they're working on the drainage portion or something. So I got to work with that department. That way they give me the information. So I keep going. I get the ball rolling. So I rely on people throughout the day. Or there's AutoCAD. So we have technicians that work on AutoCAD and they draw it up for me on the computer. So whatever I design or draw on paper, I'll hand it over. So I have to make sure to keep that ball rolling because if I don't have enough work for the draftsmen, they just sit there. So I got to plan it ahead and really manage my time better. That way I get all my information and they get all, vice versa. And then we meet our deadline.
Okay. You said drainage and I know what you do or what you work for. People listening don't. So let's talk about a little bit specifically what your company does, like what you're developing.
Okay. So, my company, we are solely focused on land development.
Okay.
So, our client, who is a land developer, will purchase a portion of land, and what he wants to do is develop it, right? So he can make money off of it. So we primarily focus on residential subdivisions.
Okay.
We do have some commercial work, but we usually subcontract that out. We usually just do residential work. But yeah.
So so you're developing the land, like you get a hill. You start from raw to how far do you go until your job is complete?
Okay, so so they'll give me a piece of land that has a hill on it, right?
Okay.
And they're like, okay, so I'll go through all this planning level designing, and then it'll come to me once it becomes a tentative map, and the tentative map will show me the boundaries and kind of the how many houses they want on it. So it'll be like the skeleton, the backbone of what they envision for this project.
Okay.
So I come in and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at this and they want 200, 300 homes. So what I got to do is take this hill.
You start naming the streets.
I mean, the city does that. They'll get into it. But like the first thing I do is do a grading plan. So what I want to do is smooth out that hill.
Okay.
Who the heck wants to live on a top hill that they can't even drive to, right?
Okay, right.
So I got to take, it's kind of like sand. You just kind of smooth it out and you got to figure out. Yeah.
It's not that easy.
I know it's not. Actually, grading is really complicated. I'm trying to be better, but it's actually really, really hard. It's harder than it looks.
So first thing is grading. Yeah.
So you don't want to bring in more dirt because it's expensive.
Right.
And you also don't want to have to move the dirt somewhere, export it out either, because then what are you going to do with it? Right. So what you want to do is what you have in front of you. You want to get what you get, and you get what you get. But I mean, there are times where the soil's not good and you have to export it out. So it just depends on each condition. But the goal is to balance your site. So I'm just going to smooth it out and make sure all the pads work with, the rules that we have within the jurisdiction. You can't exceed certain slopes. There's certain standards. So there's kind of guidelines on what you can.
Depending on the county or just in general?
Depending on the city. So they'll have these guidelines that you have to follow in order for them to approve it. So we'll go through a grading plan set and they'll pad all those lots out. And then it goes into improvement plans. So I do both of those. And improvement plans, we'll start putting in pipes, pavement for the roads. We'll do street lights, hydrants, just everything that you would normally see when you're just driving down a road. So we'll get everything ready for the home builder.
Okay.
That way, all they got to do is just put a house on there and connect it.
So the developer hires you guys. They develop it, then it's sold to the home builder.
Exactly. So, and that's when he starts making money. So once he has all the streets already constructed and everything's done, he'll start selling it off.
Okay.
And that's why those residential areas are subdivided, because they're divided for a marketing strategy. So they might have a community where houses are 2-story or 1-story or whatever it is, but it's some kind of design where it's particular and they're the same. So then he'll sell that piece.
Okay.
Be like, hey, I'm putting this out there in the newspaper, whoever wants to take it. And home builders just
snatch them up.
Because they see it's good market. And like Folsom's a great market because, I mean, you've seen in the newspaper, I'm sure that a ton of people are moving from the Bay Area trying to move here. Yeah. And it's just, it's really good business. They make a lot of money. So
that's cool. Well, I'm sure you guys are busy then. Let's talk about your we talked about a good day. What's a bad day? Busy day?
So
we don't have to get into the details, but
definitely. Yeah. I don't want to make it seem like it's discouraging, but I think it's important
to be honest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, be honest. Somebody's going to come in there, wow, this is so cool. They're so flexible. I can do whatever I want. But in reality is if you come in for your 8 hours, but you have nothing to show for it, they're going to know and they're going to call you out. So you got to make sure. I'm not trying to make it seem like this is the easiest job. Yeah. You also have to have results, right? But I think on a bad day, it's not that it's bad. It's just if I work a lot, then I'm behind on my personal life. So
I have to make sure to have a balance. And I do understand that there's seasons that are busy and it's going to be unbalanced and I'm going to be stressed and I'm okay with that, you know, because I know it's just temporary.
Okay.
But I have worked before where I had to work 80 hours a week, just trying to pull through, you know, trying to keep our client happy.
Hold up, 80 hours a week.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
Crazy.
I know. Looking back, it's crazy, but it's weird because I actually enjoyed it kind of because it was a challenge. And I think it's so cool looking back and being able to like just see that I was able to do that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it depends. There's certain people that are like, I don't want to do that. For me, I was like, I want to do this project because if I'm going to tell my manager that, hey, I can't handle it and I can't get that deadline, they're going to come and bring more help. And then I don't get to do that by myself. That work goes to someone else and I wanted to do it.
You don't experience it or you don't learn from it.
Yeah. So it's you trying to take opportunities. So for me, the 80 hours, it's not like my manager was like, hey, I need you to work 80 hours. It was more me where I didn't want to give that away. I wanted to do it. And what's really cool is last week they had an opening for the model homes that I worked on a few years ago. So I worked on an improvement plan set and it's all constructed and now models are being built. And it's just so cool to see it through. And it's so rewarding because it's so cool. Like I actually get to do something that like matters, you know, and you get to see it. And it's like such a huge project too. It's not like a tiny little structure. It's this humongous project. Okay. You know, so it's really cool. So the 80 hours was my choice. Okay. It was my choice.
So a civil engineer, I know your family members, some of them are engineers, some of them are not. Why civil engineering for you? Why this field?
That's a good question.
Did you fall in love with like Legos when you were young or?
I did.
Really?
That's so fun. Yeah, that's such a typical. I know. I'm so like, just a typical case. But yeah, when I was a kid, I played with Barbies and all that, you know, all that girly stuff. But at the same time, I could play with Legos from like morning till night. Like I loved constructing little houses and little things. I'm like, oh, let me redo it. I could do something better with the Legos that I have, you know? Yeah. And it was just so much fun. And I mean, that's not the reason why, but now that I look back, I'm like, oh, I guess I did have a little piece of myself that was always going to be an engineer. Okay. But that's because I'm looking back. But the reason why I picked this major is I just got to a point where I tried other fields and it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't. I think I gave it a really good try. I even worked in accounting and business and I did all that. I worked and took classes and I was like, this is not for me. I don't feel challenged. I need something else. So I knew I was transferring to Sac State and I opened the catalog and I went through every single major. I read through each one and there was only two that stood out to me, which was civil engineering and construction. And I was like, I don't really know anything about construction. It seems so cool. Yeah. But I just don't think I'm going to do well. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, let's just do civil engineering. So I kind of
just picked that. And then you still ended up in construction pretty much.
Yeah. I still work with, because I don't do construction, but I do work with construction companies to get it built. You know, so there's still a piece. So it's really cool because I guess in a way I got everything I wanted. Yeah. That's what I wanted.
You kind of get both worlds. You work on the more of the engineering side, but with construction clients.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of worked out, but I think it's just, there's nobody in my family that's a civil engineer or I don't have any friends that are civil engineers. It was just, I looked at the catalog and I was like, I don't like anything but this description. And I don't even fully know what it is. But I'm just going to try it because I've tried other things. Yeah. Like taking one semester to focus on something that you might be interested in is not going to kill you. Okay. One semester is how long? It's like 3 months, 4 months.
But taking 2 years that you think something you like and then you end up not liking it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that sucks. 2 years sucks. But I'm thinking like semester per semester, just give it a try. Like 3-4 months. Who the heck cares? Like that's such a small portion of your life. Just try it. Nobody.
So what was the first class in engineering or 2 classes that you tried and you're like, dude, I love this?
Well, it was CE1A, so that was an intro to civil engineering. So they started talking about all the different concentrations, and they're like, this is what you might be doing. And then what's really cool is every week they had companies that would come out and just kind of talk about what they do. Okay. Kind of what we're doing right now. Like they would just talk about their day-to-day, introduce their company. And I was like, this is really cool. And then years went by and it got really hard. And I was like, shoot, I don't even know if I could do this. It's really, really hard. It was not. Yeah, it was a lot of work. I think it was like the hardest time in my life. But then I was just, like you said, the 2-year thing. I think you're just so far in it that you're like, I'm not turning back. I'm not giving up. No freaking way. I worked way too hard to turn around. So if I fail, I'm just going to retake this class. Just keep retaking it. But luckily it all worked out. It was good.
That's awesome. And then from what I kind of see and know in my experience, and then from what you're kind of saying, school is probably the hardest part out of all that. Once you get the job itself, I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier. It's more interesting. It's more fun because you're actually using what you've learned, and would you agree?
100%. And I think your job is a little bit more forgiving. I know that there's money involved.
Yeah.
But if your company is smart, they'll have a little buffer for little mistakes here and there, because we're humans.
Yeah.
But in school, if you don't pass, like, you're done. You got to retake it.
Yeah.
Hopefully you might get into that class again. But I know it's like, there's just a lot of students in Sac State. I really, really struggled trying to get into certain classes. It was just over impacted. So in school, like, you're like, oh shoot, I didn't pass. This is the end of the world. Like, you're like, oh my God.
Stressing out, staying up.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh. But then at work, it's just a little bit more forgiving. So if you make mistakes, it's fine. You just own it, work through it, and then, get
over and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So our company is really big on, we're hard on the problem and easy on the people. And I really, really like that because I don't know. I feel like I'm more, I can breathe better. Like, I'm not as stressed. School is so stressful. So
the job itself is a better culture than school.
100%. School is just, you got to hustle. You just got to, I mean, nobody's going to help you really.
Yeah.
Like, you just got to own it, and you got to make your career, your future happen. You're on your own. You got to show up to class. If you don't show up to class, the teacher will not care. They do not care that you had an appointment, that you are sick. They don't care,
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. Okay. So now we're at more of the how can I part. So somebody listening or watching us, and they're reading through the catalog that you are reading, and they're reading civil engineering, and they're like, okay, this sounds interesting, but I have no idea what this means. What can you tell that person?
Like specific, like the definition of civil engineering, or just like an encouraging message? What do you mean?
We could do both. Like, because I'm trying to imagine you sitting there reading, and you're like, dude, I wish I knew this and this and this about civil engineering. What am I actually getting into?
Okay. I think what you're getting into is, I thought it was a really creative space where I get to design, right? So I'm like, oh my gosh, am I like an artist? Like, you get to design all this stuff, but you gotta like hone it back a little bit because there's a lot of rules. So I didn't know that. But if you're looking at a catalog and you're like, I wonder if civil engineering's for me. I think it's for you if, one, you just like enjoy math and you like problem solving, and you do have that creative mindset where you can figure out these little loopholes to save money. So I think it's for people that just like to create things. Okay. I think that's what it's really all about. And math is definitely a big part of it too.
So it is a creative space, but it's not like a, hey, whatever you create, there's a goal to your creativity. Yeah. Like you have a goal, mission.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have a client. So you're designing something for the client. So you're kind of restricted. You're not designing anything that you want in the entire world. You have limitations. So you got a client, you got to make the client happy. And then also at the same time, you got to make sure your plans will get approved by the city. Okay. So the city has the rules, the client has the request, and you got to make everybody happy and then have a product and get it constructed.
Okay. I'm in high school, for example, right? And I can't take that intro to civil engineering. What is the best way to expose myself to like, can I go and volunteer at a company or a firm like yours? Can I go chaperone?
Oh, like a job shadow or something?
Boom, job shadow.
Okay.
So can I go job shadow Julie at work?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Where do people sign up for that? How do they?
It was kind of word of mouth. Like there was a girl that came and I was an intern at the time. And that day, one of the partner of the company was like, hey, we're going to get a girl that is coming in here into our office. She's a high school student. Can she job shadow you or just kind of get some advice because you're in college and she's trying to transition from high school to college? And I was like, sure. And it was kind of, I think she had some kind of connections. Not to say you can't come to a company and ask.
Right.
Just ask.
Bring some donuts and ask.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We love donuts. Like, believe oh my God. If you are like, hey, I have these donuts and can I just come and like watch you guys? Like, they're like, heck yeah, come on over. So actually that's a great idea. I didn't even think of that. But yeah, you can definitely do that. So you got to put yourself out there. So, because I
mean, how can I wouldn't even know where to go. I Google civil engineering companies?
Yeah, exactly.
In Sacramento or whatever?
Yes. So exactly that. Go on Google. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, you probably don't, because if you're a high school student, I doubt you have a LinkedIn account. It's more for a career.
Probably have a TikTok though.
TikTok. I know we just went over TikTok, which I feel so old because I don't know what that is. But I'm sure there's something out there. But
get a more professional one, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. Okay, I was trying to stay away from that. I was gonna say even Instagram too, but yeah, just go on Google and be like civil engineering companies, and just be like, let's just see what they do, or is it fun? Is it like, yeah, you can do that. Courses wise, I was actually really impressed because I was looking at people's resumes and they talked about how they had AutoCAD experience from high school. I've never had that. We did not have that offered in our high school. But if you have an AutoCAD course, take it. Okay. It's such a powerful thing to have because that's where our future is going. Okay. Like I have engineers in our company that would draw things by hand, no computers. That's where their plans were. Wow. And if anything changed, they erase it or whatever they got to do and like wipe it out. And that's where they were. Okay. And even my manager, she's like in her 40s and she was saying that, that's what she did. So that wasn't that long ago. And now they do AutoCAD. So everything's in the computer. Okay. So yes, I draw, but the ultimate goal is to put it in the computer and
digital. Everything's
digital. So if you know how to use AutoCAD, that's so powerful because you're already like a step further
in the right direction.
And it's not just civil engineering. There's other companies that use AutoCAD too. So I think that really stuck out to me today when I was talking to students.
So in your company, like you get hired as a civil engineer, is there room to grow? You start as a civil engineer. I don't know how you guys label 1, 2, 3. What are the steps to kind of progress in the field?
Yeah. So there definitely are levels. And we actually, in our company, we started talking about a mentorship program. And you're kind of in control of where you want to go. Okay. So you could go in the business sector or maybe you just like the engineering side and you just want to stick to that and be a project manager. So it kind of, you're sitting in the driver's seat. So you can make the decision. So there's, if you have a little interest in engineering and business, there's still a space for you too. Okay. For me personally, I just like the engineering. Maybe in the future it might change, but I just love the design work. I don't really care for the business side, but I started out as an intern, so an intern student. And then once I graduated, I was a junior level. And then a few years later, I got promoted to assistant. And then there's like 5-10 more levels. So there's places to go. And they definitely they reward you for your efforts. So they give you bonuses, raises. So you get all that too. But there's definitely room to grow, which is great.
And then I'm guessing there's like insurance packages and all the other stuff. How does that work? Somebody's become an engineer. They're like 42 and they're like, I'm changing my career, but I have a family.
Yeah, I'm probably not the best person to ask about insurance and stuff. I do have insurance, but I don't know exactly all the technical stuff. But they do offer you insurance. So I have like Kaiser, you know, so they offer that. The deductible is like, I don't know, $2,000, $5,000. I don't know if that's good. I don't know. This is my first job with a health package, so I don't know what to compare it to.
Yeah.
But we definitely have like health and dental, and we have all that
competitive benefits.
They say competitive, but I'm sure we're just average.
Okay.
So we have that. Oh, but one cool thing about our company is they do give you like a health savings account.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a debit card that you can use for like dental, vision, and it's really cool because like you look at your card, you're like, oh, I got $2,000. Like you kind of forget that you had that extra little buffer. So that's
especially
cool.
Nowadays, saving extra savings accounts are very useful for some people. You know.
Oh heck yeah. And just and even like health stuff. Like I have my own personal battles, and like it's so expensive, and it gets so that having that really, really helps. But if you're going to be in engineering, definitely make sure they give you health insurance. That's definitely a must. That's not a bonus. That's just a standard package.
Okay,
that
so
you have to have.
There's somebody might be listening for some reason. I just thought of this, like, and they're like, okay, I feel like I'm not going to fit into this civil engineering world. I mean, are there any like coworkers that you work with that were like totally not even thinking about civil engineering, that come from crazy different backgrounds?
Oh, we're all so different. I think there's a stereotype where it's like engineers are these introverts and we just don't like to talk to people.
And smart people with crazy hair.
Yeah, crazy hair, or there's no girls. There's like a stereotype that there's no girls. Like there was like this little meme or something that's like the one girl that's in the class, the guys are like, oh my gosh, like, you know. But that's so changing. I think, you know, there's about like 30% of women now too. So I hope the girls out there, like, it's all good. There's space for you too.
Yeah.
But there's so many different people. We have introverts, extroverts. We have all kinds of people. They're just all kinds of people. There's not like, we're not one and the same. We're all different backgrounds, different ethnicities. We're all just awesome. A big soup, and it's just all mixed up with all kinds of people.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. What would be the last thing you asked, like something encouraging? What would be something encouraging? Somebody's struggling in school.
Yeah.
And they're in civil engineering, that's their goal, and they're like, dude, this is so hard. I don't know how to go on to the next step.
What comes to mind is, I remember I was taking a chemistry class, and my friend and I, we went to these after hours. It was just an extra little study session for the finals. And there was this girl, we don't know who she was. She like walked by, and she just like broke down. She just started crying, and we were like, are you okay? Like, what happened? Thinking like something crazy happened. She's like, I didn't get into this class, and that's it. It pushes me back a whole nother semester. And she's just like totally just like
losing it.
And we're like, it's okay. We're like, that's part of college. Like, everything does not go according to plan. If it does, you are a unicorn. Like, you are just so lucky and good for you. But that's not how it works. So I think college pushes this 4-year plan. It's just not 4 years. I think I took a little bit over 6.
Okay.
And I'm not a lazy person. This is me actually trying to get to somewhere and make something of myself. But hey, it took longer, and that's okay. So I think just don't get so stuck on, I have a plan, and if it shifts, oh my gosh, I'm just going to lose it. Let's say you don't do good in a class and it's so hard, retake it. You have 3 shots. Yeah. Is 3 not enough? Like, you got this, you know? Yeah. So just be okay with things not going the way that you think they're supposed to go.
Okay.
I think.
Don't expect a perfect world.
Yeah, because it's not. And
it's not at work either. Because and I know sometimes, I remember going from middle school to high school, and you're imagining high school like this crazy atmosphere, and then from high school to college, you're imagining something crazy. It's not really. It's as crazy as you make it seem, I think.
Yeah,
it's as crazy as you make it seem.
It's really all in your head. It really is. I think it's all in your head, and you just have to just calm down. Just take it easy. It's gonna be okay. Like,
so let's talk a little bit about your Folsom project. You're working in Folsom. What are some of the cool features you like about that project? Because you know, if you're in the Sacramento area, you're probably gonna drive through there and see Julie's work of art right there.
Yeah. My favorite project, and I think it's gonna be my favorite for my entire life, is the Russell Ranch project, and it literally looks like a cake tier. So it's like you drive up and it's just like the first layer of houses, then the second layer, then the third, and then the fourth. So it's just, it looks like this huge mountain. And it's just so interesting because
what's on top of the mountain?
Houses. So they're all
so
houses.
At the very top, there's just it's going to be the
House-
most expensive lot.
Oh yeah, they're the biggest lot, and I can't wait till they're starting models on that too. They're not open yet, but it's really cool. So every tier they have houses, and so like it's just such a cool design because you get to purchase a house that one, it's humongous, it's in Folsom, but you get this really amazing view. So that would be my favorite one.
That's awesome. Well, when you guys visit Folsom, make sure you visit Russell Ranch.
Russell Ranch, check it out. Yeah.
Russell Ranch. Awesome.
Yep.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for coming on, sharing what it's like to be a civil engineer, what it's like to become a civil engineer, and then some of the pros and then some of the not setbacks, but the realities of being a civil engineer and schooling. So,
yeah. Anytime.
If you guys have any questions, comment down below. Like, subscribe, share, or just reach out directly to
Artishuk. Yeah.
At Artishuk.
Yep. It's a nickname that stuck with me forever.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you, Julie.
Cool. This is fun.